is up, bass tubers or YouTubers or you guys out there? You know, me and you, the bass nerds out there. I can see your smiling faces out there. Today is all about bass technique, and we're going to be talking about 4 specific bass myths that I think kind of get in the way of people just getting badass bass technique together. Now, if you enjoy today's video and all of the mythness that we'll be talking about, make sure you check out my brand new 26-week accelerator program, all focused on bass technique. Basically, you can work with me for 26 weeks, all about getting your bass technique together. Now, I'll tell you a little bit more about it at the end of this video. Anyway, without further ado, let's get over to the Theory Corner and check out these bass technique myths. Okay, so welcome to the Theory Corner, and shout out to everybody that gave us some super nice comments about the Theory Corner last time we used it. Unfortunately, this time it's not really a Theory Corner, it's more like a Technique Corner, but you know, we don't want to change the name, we're holding fast. And also, I know we can be doing better here. I know it could be a little prettier. We're going to work on our Theory Corner game. Just, you know, you guys put your trust in me, it'll be all good. So number 1, and you might be thinking as well, why only 4? Why top 4? Why not 5? Well, number 5, I'm going to get to number 5 after these 4. So hang on, we'll get to it. So, but first of all, number 1, what is the number 1 bass myth? Bass technique myth. Small hands suck. As in, I have spoken to countless bass students, and they're like, oh, I've got small hands, it's holding me back, and all of that stuff, right? I'm really sorry to break it to anybody with small hands out there, but small hands has got nothing to do with your ability to play, you know, your facility on the actual bass. It really hasn't. And just to prove this, you can go onto YouTube and just search bass. Actually, Gav, go on to, let's not tell lies. If you go onto YouTube and search bass, 14-year-old bass player, who comes up? So essentially it's this guy. Oh, actually he's 11. He's 11. Check this out. So as you can see, that little dude has got a ton of facility. Now that was actually recorded years ago, and he's a killing bass player and still, so definitely check him out online. But yeah, small hands don't suck. It's to do with the way that you have tuned your technique in and the way that you're moving up and down the fingerboard. So if you've got small hands, do not worry, it's not going to hold you back. Number 2. Oh, fail. Good technique is all about playing fast. Total myth, okay? Good technique is not about playing fast. Good technique is all about, it's just so many things. It's about muting. It's about how you're plucking the strings. Are you using rest strokes? Are you using free strokes? How are you moving across the strings? How are you muting? Yeah, playing fast has got some tiny part to do with it, but it really is a tiny part. And it's all the things that I've just previously mentioned, like how you're actually plucking the strings and you're muting and how you're crossing the strings, that really give you the ability to play fast. So great technique isn't about playing fast. Great technique will give you the ability to play fast. 2 wildly different things. So number 3, it's not about groove. It is about groove. If your technique isn't fluid and up to scratch, it's going to get in the way of your groove. And I can give you a great example of this, okay? I've been playing bass for how long, Gav? Since you were 18. Many moons ago. For about 20 years, yeah. Actually, 21 years. And I've got pretty good time. I've worked on it really hard. So when I'm playing on bass, I know that I'm in the pocket and I can do my thing. I actually play a tiny little bit of drums. I'm pretty bad, but I can sit behind the drums, and when I play, I always notice that my time is fluctuating. I'm maybe pushing the beat, I'm dragging, or whatever, it kind of fluctuates. I'm never in front of the beat or behind the beat. I'm kind of all over the beat, right, when I'm playing drums. So what's going on there? Is it my internal time? No, because I've actually got killing internal time. The problem is that my technique on the drums is getting in the way of my time. And that can absolutely happen on the bass. If you're playing a groove, You know, if your technique isn't allowing you to play cleanly and you're muting effectively and you haven't conditioned your plucking hand to be ready for every single picking eventuality that you're going to throw at it while you're playing the groove, then you're going to it's just going to start, your technique will be, and I'm talking like micro movements, it's going to start stuttering and that's going to affect your time. So bad technique equals bad groove. So it absolutely is about the groove. Number 4, you're killing me. Number 4 is that getting good technique is hard. And Gav's almost crying behind the camera. He's looking at this little, you're looking at this mistake here, aren't you? I just scribbled over it. It hurt your OC, didn't it? CDO. But getting good technique isn't hard. It's actually just a process that you've got to work on, and you've got to be able to divide your technique into multiple parts. You work on those multiple parts and then you push them all together, and that's when you can, you have good technique. And as I said before, it's all to do with, like, this hand is really important, your plucking hand. It's really where the fundamental of the sound comes from, how you're picking the note, how you're crossing the strings. Have you got your muting together? Are you playing with alternate fingers? Are you raking or playing economy when you come down? What's going on with this hand? Are you relaxed in the arms? Have you got, all of those little pieces, right, make up good technique. But doing that, building a good technique isn't hard. All it takes is dedication. And I thoroughly believe that something that's really hard is completely different to something that you've just got to be dedicated to. Okay? For me, something that's hard might be something that only a few people can achieve. Good technique on the bass or any instrument can be achieved by anybody. That's not hard. That's a different thing for me, hopefully for you as well. Good technique is about being dedicated and breaking down all of the small parts of your technique and just working on them in a systematic way that means that you'll be able to, hone it, be able to tune your technique in, and then when you push them all back together, you've got badass bass technique. It's not hard, it takes dedication. Also, side note as well, to when you're actually working on your technique, because your technique is controlled by your motor cortex up here in the old noggin of yours, it's not a simple fact of, I'm just going to change the way I play that note. That motor cortex is sending, or will have been sending, a very specific signal. Maybe you've been playing for 2 years, maybe you've been playing for 3 years, maybe you've been playing for 30 years. You've been playing for 30 years, that motor cortex has been sending that same damn signal for 30 years, and suddenly you're going to rock up and be like, hey motor cortex, can we please send a different signal? You know what the motor cortex is going to say? So with that in mind, it's going to take a little bit of time to retrain that motor cortex and give it time to bed in. So don't be disheartened if you're trying to get a technique change to happen on the instrument. It'll just take a little bit of time because you need to warm the motor cortex up to it. Now, I did talk about a number 5, and why I didn't put a number 5 is because I want you guys to share with me what you think is the 5th technique myth. Okay, we've talked about why small hands are not a limitation when it comes to bass technique. We've talked about how playing fast is not good technique. Good technique gives us the ability to play fast. Two different things. Okay, we've talked about how it does affect your groove. Okay, if you've got bad technique on the bass, it will affect your groove, it will affect your pocket. And we've been talking about how good technique isn't hard, it takes dedication, because you need to, warm up the motor cortex. But what do you think number 5 is? I want you guys to tell me in the comments. So do that, go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video as well, I've just opened my new 26-week Bass Technique Accelerator program. We've just opened that for enrollment, so you can work with me for 26 weeks. I'll send you a brand new lesson every single Monday for an entire 26 weeks, pretty much half a year. Is that over half a year, Gav?
26 weeks is
over half a year. Me and you for over half a year, every single Monday. Yeah, so me and you can work together for over half a year, and each Monday you'll get a brand new lesson. It will include 4 specific exercises, and you're going to be told exactly how much time to focus on each exercise. The whole program is about getting your bass technique to the next level. It is super important. Bass technique is like one of the fundamental things. We need to have our foundation absolutely rock solid so we can play what's going on in our heads. Now, anyway, check it out. The link is below. Other than that, guys, as always, take it easy and I'll see you in the shed.